In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. I'll not be giving a sermon next Sunday, as I have said, and the Christmas celebration, the Feast of the Nativity, is always dedicated to the message that we receive from His Holiness and from our Bishop Abba Serapion. So I won't be giving a sermon on that night either. So I'm going to sum up something that for me is very important. It's partly a confession of my own life. And by the way, let me tell you about confession, just for a second. Confession means that which you do. That's it. It means that which you do. The good things and the bad things. Now, if there's something to learn from me, I'm going to tell you. And if there is something that is an event or a strategy or an act that you should avoid, I'm also going to share that with you. Not for the spirit of aggrandizement, but just in the spirit of teaching. I have found out how to do some things right in my life. And there are still things that I'm puzzled over, because it's the intersection of my logic and my education and my experience, and with it intersecting my passion and my animal desires, my lusts, my lower, baser self. And sometimes one wins and sometimes the other. And it's always the case when the animal in me prevails that I have just not been steadfast. I have just not been steadfast. I have been a betrayer of God. I have been one that in a moment of testing I failed Him. And that is basically the case with all humankind. When we fail to do something, it's not because usually we are ignorant of what we should have done. It's that we have chosen or allowed the choice to be made for us because we become cowards and we do not know how to properly fight. As you know, I watch fighting on television all the time. I watch MMA, and there's a lot to be learned from blood sports, because in a blood sport, a man is putting himself on the line. And sometimes you can see people, it's called turtling up. A person will go into a cocoon, they'll make themselves in a small sort of fetal position and cover as best they can, and just hope that the referee has mercy on them and will stop the fight quickly, because they've given up. You've seen people broken in this thing. Well, it may not be out of a proper motivation that they do these things, enter into the ring, I mean, not knowing enough about themselves, but we who are Christians and who have done this over and over and over do not have quite the same excuse, because we know when we enter into a ring where conflict is possible, we know what the high ground is. It's just that we don't want to climb that hill. We are cowardly. In the MMA, they say a person doesn't have good cardio. Well, it is a lack of heart. Literally, in the spiritual life, when you do not ascend to the mountain, to the place of the skull, Golgotha, because that's the place of crucifixion. And the crucifixion in our life, in a practical way, is the crucifixion of desire. It's the crucifixion of lust. It's the crucifixion of animal nature. So now I turn around and I come to you about Christmas. People all of the time have a perfunctory way of asking questions for which they do not want answers. Right? A zayak. People don't want to know how you really are when they ask the question, how are you? They don't want to know how you are. They want you to say, fine, good, everything's okay. Or people will say, how's everything? And I usually have a quip, well, I don't know about everything, but I know some things are still okay. But we don't do that the proper way in our common discourse. And we really fail and sin when we allow this to enter into our spiritual lives. Because people will come up to you and they will say to you, and I think everybody here has had someone say it to them already, "How was your Christmas? What was your Christmas like?" And what do they say? "Oh man, all the relatives were in the house. I couldn't stand it. Right? Or, "Oh, it was the great. I got all the gifts that I had ever wanted to get." You will say something. But what is Christmas? And I want you to reflect upon what Christmas is. What is the occasion for our worshiping and our adoration at this time of the year? What is the occasion for our worshiping and our adoration at this time of the year? Gregory of Nazianzus says, we have an answer. We have an answer. It's honoring love. Honoring love. If you want to know what Christmas is all about, it's about honoring love. Because God gave us the gift of His only begotten Son. Why? As is written in John 3:16, which every child should know, for He so loved the world. You see, we give presents, not because there was Saint Nicholas of Myra. We give presents because God the Father gave us His Son. And He gave us not only His Son so that God could become God-man, but He gave us the Holy Virgin through whom this would be affected. He gave us one of our own, a dual present. This is why the term Theotokos is so important. She is the mother of God. And being mother does not end, like any of you mothers know, with birthing. It wasn't the case that out came a baby and that was it. She was not that. Then she would have been only, as the word literally means, God-bearer. No, she was a mother. That's why the church insists on the word mother, which is a understanding of the word Theotokos, which literally means God-bearer. She is the one who raised him, who nurtured him. She's the one who changed his diapers and fed him. She's the one who watched him grow and helped him. She did everything. She worried over him, whether it was necessary or not. You cannot find a mother that does not worry. It's not possible. And so the gift that God has given, we then share around a tree of joy. And the tree doesn't have to be there, as in the case of O. Henry's short story, The Gift of the Magi, where the man who had nothing but a great watch and a woman who had nothing but great hair both sold their possessions to give to the other what was the most ironic of all. The woman who had cut her hair off, her husband sold his watch so he could get her a comb, a decorated comb for her hair. And the man for whom the watch was his pride, the only thing he possessed of any value, handed down from son to son over many generations, she had bought him a chain to hang his watch from by selling her hair. So in the sense of giving, you do not have to be wealthy. The gift can be a smile and an embrace and a kiss. It can be a comforting word. But we give in respect to how important the gift of God is that we received. And now you know, the horrible thing is that they try to remove from God and from His gift all of its power by nominalizing it, by saying, Happy Holidays. And you know the story. I corrected the woman at Bed Bath & Beyond. She said, Happy Holidays. And I said, no, Happy Holy Days. These are holy days. And the word holly has nothing whatsoever to do with a contraction of holy. My wife was standing next to me and she was kind of surprised. I said, whether you're a Jew and you celebrate Hanukkah, or you are a Christian and you celebrate at this time of the year the birth of Jesus Christ, these are holy days to each group of people. And to turn it into some kind of secular expression of joy without connecting it to the one who made it possible is blasphemy. It's a horrible thing. You should never ever send a card that says Happy Holidays. And if you receive one, send it back and mark it Holy Days. So the person, when they get it, they open it up and they see, and they are instructed. And they'll ask you about it, why you did that. And you say, out of love. Because if we are not celebrating the love of this gift, and it is not important in our lives to love the way God loved, forsaking every sin of man because of the preciousness of His gift of creation to us, then we are not Christian. Now, I want to say one more thing. I have never ever perfected the art of love. Some things have to do with my own passion. Some things have to do with bitterness and enmity because of slights that I received from the hand of another. Some things have to do with the fact that my heart is not wide enough. I look at peoples around the world and I say, well, they're not like me. I don't know whether you do that, but I do that. They're not like me. Well, why are they not like me? Because I do not want to take upon myself the burden of all of their concerns. Because if they are like me, if they are as precious to me as my grandchild is to me, then I have to do something. It will demand, it will put a claim upon my entire life that I not rest until I work to alleviate some of the things that I see wrong in the pictures that are presented to me through media. And I suspect this is the case with many of you. I have not ever one time withheld from you a defect in my character, and I have never withheld from you one time the truth about the defect in my character. You see, we must not alibi. If you are doing something wrong, then you should say it correctly and exactly and not make excuse. If you are unable to do that, you are using an opportunity of confession to lie to God a second or a third or a 10th time about the same subject. That's wrong. This is the time of love. This is the time of honoring love. We worship and we adore at this time. You know the song, O Little Town of Bethlehem? Whether it is in Latin, Venite Adoreum, or whether it is in English, O come, let us adore Him. O come, let us adore Him. O come, let us adore Him, Christ the Lord. Venite Adoreum Domine. They don't put the Christ in there in the Latin. But the point that I'm making is that if Christmas means anything to you, if the depth of Christmas is going to have its proper impact upon you, you have to widen the breadth and the depth of your own loving. And not simply towards those that you already love, but to include those that you have not loved at all or enough. It's the time of love. It's the pure love. What do we say about love in John's epistle? God is love. So it's time to love. And if you are, as I am, imperfect in my loving, a failure, conceited that I have a good reason to put love in a small container and dole it out to whomever I wish, like the chocolate candy, then, I come into great conflict with my Savior who gave me life. So I tell you, the words of St. Gregory of Nazianzus: we worship during this season and we adore, paraphrasing him, during this season because we honor love. Everything else is incidental. Everything else is incidental. And we remember his mother because coming through her, he became man so that mankind could be received to him. So that God-man could more deeply embrace man-God. So that we would not be inferior as pets. As the little dog that we have at my house for Christmas. The puppy, Muffin. But that we would be full and strong in our relationship through his grace to know and to be proper vessels of knowing. So embrace the love of this season and reach out to people and think about those. You know, sometimes I'm sitting in front of the television and there's an appeal that comes across the station. And I'm thinking, my checkbook is literally from where I sit, because I sit at my desk. It is literally 3 feet. I have to bend down a little and reach, but I can get my checkbook. And there are times when I say to myself, I'm gonna send out a check right now, and then I don't. Shame on me. Shame on me. You know, I hope to do better in the coming year. I hope to be more generous with love. And if I can't touch someone with love, then maybe I can do it with comfort, and my dollars may in some way affect the outcome of at least a moment of their lives. Glory be to our good Father, both now and ever to the age of ages. Amen.